Okay, this lesson is 1-2. It's going to be applying the order of operations. So I'm just going to go through a really quick review. I think most of you guys know the order of operations. We have P for parentheses, E for exponents, M for multiply, D for divide. Now these two came up at the same time because they are done in the same step. Okay, just to review. We multiply and divide in the same step from left to right. So it doesn't matter if division comes first in the problem from left to right, you would do division first. Not go through and do the multiplication and then do the division. Go from left to right, doing whatever you come to first, whether that's multiplication first or division first. Okay? Then the next steps are addition and subtraction. They came up at the same time for the same reason, from left to right. So just because we say addition first doesn't mean we do all the addition in the problem first. We go from left to right, adding or subtracting whatever we come to first. So just a quick review on that. Okay? All right, in your notes, if you wanted to write that down on your notes, you could. In your notes, we're going to do a first example, evaluating this expression. So we're going to use PEMDAS, or the order of operations, to evaluate this expression. So the very first step that you should do, step 1, is parentheses. Okay? There are no parentheses or grouping symbols in this expression, so we can just go ahead and go to step 2. So on step 1 in your notes, you can just write parentheses, none. Okay? For step 2, we would do exponents. We have one exponent, or one power, in the problem, and so we evaluate the powers. So here's what we would do. We would take our 3 squared, that's our power. That's the one thing we do. We leave everything else the same. Our 27 stays the same. Our division sign stays the same. We evaluate the 3 squared. It becomes 9. We leave our times 2 and minus 3. For step 3, multiply and divide from left to right. Okay, so notice that division comes first. Just because multiply comes first in PEMDAS does not mean we multiply everything first automatically. Since division comes first, we're going to do that first. So 27 divided by 9 equals 3. Notice the times 2 and minus 3 is rewritten. It's just rewritten right over here exactly as it was in the original problem. Okay, so our next step is going to be 3 times 2, because that's the next thing we come to. That is multiplication or division. So we're going to evaluate that. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we rewrite the 6 minus 3. We're done with our step 3 of multiplication and division. There's none left, so we are done. So obviously our step 4 will be our addition and subtraction, and obviously from left to right. We only have one thing, it's subtraction, so we will do the subtraction. 6 minus 3 is 3. So that's our first example. So the value of that expression, 27 divided by 3 squared times 2 minus 3 equals 3. Okay. Go ahead and pause the video, and let's go ahead and do your guided practice. Do problems 1, 2, and 3. Or you can just wait and I will do problem 1 and give you an answer, and then you can pause for problem 2 and then for problem 3. I don't care which way you do it. If you want to do all 3 right now and then go through the video, or if you want to do them one at a time as you watch the video. Alright, 20 minus 4 squared. Since we have an exponent in our 4 squared, we would evaluate it first, and it becomes 20 minus 16, because 4 squared is 16. There's nothing else. There's no multiplication or division. There's just subtraction, so we obviously end up with the answer 4. Okay. Problem 2. Evaluate the expression 2 times 3 squared plus 4. Notice instead of an x, we've used our dot, our multiplication dot. When you have numbers, you will see a dot. When you have variables, you will not see the dot or the x. You will just see them be written right next to each other without a symbol. But we've used a dot for this one. We have no parentheses. We have exponents. So you would do 3 squared first, and you would get 2 times 9 plus 4. Okay? 2 times 9 is 18, because that's the next step. And then 18 plus 4 is 22. So that would be your answer. And then example 3, or guided practice 3, evaluate the expression 32 divided by 2 cubed plus 6. And hopefully you're able to figure that one out on your own. And your answer would be 10. Okay. Any questions on those, please circle them and bring them to class. All right, example 2. Now we're going to evaluate expressions with grouping symbols. So we're going to actually add some parentheses in there and kind of talk about what we do within the parentheses. Okay. This first step, we subtract within the parentheses because we always do parentheses first. It's the very first thing we look for, is we look for those grouping symbols. And we do what is inside them first. And inside the parentheses, we always follow PEMDAS inside the parentheses as well. The only thing inside this parentheses is 13 minus 8. So we're going to subtract, and we end up with 5. And now we can multiply, because that is the only thing that is left, and we get 35. Okay. Example B, 24 minus the quantity 3 squared plus 1. This is generally called a quantity because it's within the grouping symbol. Okay. So within the parentheses, we follow order of operations. And so exponents are done first. So we are going to evaluate our power. And we end up with 9. 3 squared is 9. So now we have 24 minus the quantity 9 plus 1. And now 9 plus 1 is within the parentheses. So we add. And we get 24 minus 10. Once everything inside the parentheses has been evaluated and you are down just to one simple term, you can eliminate your parentheses. The parentheses can go away at that point, but not until that point. And then obviously we subtract. 24 minus 10 is 14. And then our last example has multiple grouping symbols. So I want you to notice that we have a grouping symbol out here called a bracket, and within the bracket we have a parentheses. So just like I said, within grouping symbols, you always do what's inside the largest grouping symbols first, and you follow order of operations inside those grouping symbols. Well, the first step in all of our order of operations is always parentheses. Well, since we have parentheses inside of grouping symbols, we add within those first. So 8 plus 13 becomes 21. Notice we still have our brackets because we have not come down to one solid term within those brackets yet. Okay, so 30 minus 21 is 11 because we subtract within brackets. Now, we still have the brackets. Okay, we still have the brackets, whereas up here, we eliminated the parentheses. Why is that? What is the difference between this problem and this problem? Hopefully you understand that this problem has a subtraction between the two terms, and this problem is multiplication. So you could also write this as 2 with the multiplication dot 9. 2 times 9. Okay, you could write it that way, or you can write it 2 brackets, parentheses, whatever you would like to show that that represents multiplication. Either way is correct. And now we're going to multiply. Our last step is going to be 2 times 9, which is 18. Okay? So that is our order of operations, where we have parentheses within brackets. And we followed those order of operations inside the brackets as well. All right, now we're going to evaluate expressions, evaluate an algebraic expression given a variable's value. So we're going to be given an expression with a variable, which is x in this case, and we are told what x should equal. And we're going to substitute that 4 in here in this problem for the x. So as we substitute 4 in for x, we end up with 9 times 4 in our numerator, and 3 times the quantity 4 plus 2 in our denominator. Okay. So in order of operations, with a fraction, we're assuming this is a separate problem than this. We have an understood parentheses around the numerator and an understood parentheses around the denominator. The division will be the last thing that we do, ironically, in this problem. Okay? So we're going to add within our parentheses in the denominator, and we have 9 times 4 remaining in our numerator. 4 plus 2 is 6, so we have 3 times 6 in the denominator. Okay. Now we multiply our numerator and our denominator. 9 times 4 is 36, and 3 times 6 is 18. And so now we have 36 divided by 18, or we could just simplify that fraction, reduce it. 36 divided by 18 is 2, or we could reduce it to 2 over 1. Either way, we come up with the same answer. Notice our division is the last thing that we do. Okay. All right, let's do some guided practice. If you would pause the video and do problems 4, 5, and 6, and then check your answers, please. All right, for problem 4, we have 4 times the quantity 3 plus 9, and you should have come up with the answer 48. If you did not, please bring that to class and ask. For problem 5, we have 3 times the quantity 8 minus 2 squared, or 2 to the second power. And when we evaluate that, we come up with 12. If you did not get that and you don't understand that, please bring that to class. And then for number 6, we have multiple grouping symbols. We have the brackets and we have the parentheses. So make sure you're doing what's inside these parentheses first. 9 plus 3 is 12. And then 12 divided by 4 becomes 3. And then my 2 times 3 equals 6. Okay, I hope that made sense to you. If not, of course, circle it and please bring that question to class. Okay, next examples for 7, 8, and 9. If you would please pause the video and do the examples on your notes for 7, 8, and 9 if you have not already done so. And we're going to evaluate those expressions when y equals 8. Okay, for number 7, the expression is y squared minus 3, and you should have come up with 61. When you substitute the 8 in here for the y, 8 squared is 64. 64 minus 3 equals 61. Okay, for number 8, 12 minus y minus 1. Substitute the 8 in for y. Make sure you go left to right. 12 minus 8 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. And number 9 is a fraction like our example. So we're going to put in the 8 for both of the y's. And we end up with a numerator of 80 plus 1, or 81, and a denominator of 8 plus 1, or 9. And so 81 divided by 9 does equal 9. Okay. All right. For the standardized test practice, I would like you to read this problem and just pause the video if you'd like to. Read this problem, and it says a group of 12 students volunteers to collect litter for one day. I guess I will read it. A sponsor provides 3 juice drinks and 2 sandwiches for each student and pays $30 for trash bags. The sponsor's cost in dollars is given by the expression 12 times the quantity, 12 times the quantity, 3 times J plus 2 times S, plus 30, where J is the cost of a juice drink and S is the cost of a sandwich. Now, what does the 12 out here represent? Hopefully you understand that that is the students, the number of students. 12 students are going, and they are getting 3 juice drinks and 2 sandwiches per student. And then this 30 right here represents the cost of the trash bags. Okay? A juice drink costs $1.25. A sandwich costs $2. What is the sponsor's cost? So evaluate this expression, 12 times 3J plus 2S plus 30. So we're going to evaluate that expression. Maybe. There we go. Okay, there's the expression. And they've given us the cost of juice is $1.25 and the cost for a sandwich is $2. So we're going to substitute those in. And we're going to follow order of operations. So inside the parentheses, we do our multiplication problems first and skip the addition for just a second. So we're going to multiply within the parentheses. Our 12 stays out here outside. 3 times $1.25 is $3.75. And then 2 times 2 is 4. We still have our parentheses with our 12 on the outside of that. So now we add within parentheses, and we get 12 times $7.75. Notice that plus 30 just keeps tagging along until we're ready to use it. Now we do the 12 times the $7.75. Again, they left the parentheses there to represent the multiplication going on between these two numbers. Okay? That's the reason that the parentheses are still there. And 12 times $7.75 is $93 plus the $30 for trash bags. So now we add, and the sponsor's cost would be $123. So the correct answer would be B. If we went back in the video, you would see that B was $123. That's where your choice is. Sorry, I don't have that. I should have that on your notes, and so you can see those choices again. All right, you may stop the video or after you get the daily homework quiz problems. Okay, I'm going to give you your daily homework quiz problems right there. If you would, you can stop the video and do those. I am not giving you the answers today. So there are your 3 questions I would like for you to do when you come to class. Okay, make sure you look at the parentheses and the exponent on the outside, and you know what to do. Follow PEMDAS. If you need to have it at the top of this page, there you go. Parentheses first, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. All right, thanks. See you guys in class.